Hello, everyone. Today, I'll go over the Australian science fiction film 2067 spoilers. Be careful and stay safe. The movie's premise is that all plant life has died out and the world has been destroyed beyond repair by climate change in 67. The amount of oxygen in the air has decreased exponentially as a result of the absence of plant life. 99% of the world has gone dark, and people suffocate to death in such conditions. To survive, they must purchase artificial oxygen. Only one city in Australia has survived, and it is all because of a company that makes synthetic oxygen, the Chronicorp Corporation. However, the sickness is a fatal disease brought on by artificial oxygen. Humanity will only survive for a few years before completely disappearing. The Australian city is home to Ethan White. He and Jude, his friend, are mechanics at the Chronicorp. Additionally, the company works round the clock to discover a means of curing the disease and saving the world. Zand, Ethan's wife, has the disease as well. Ethan puts in long hours every day to get her better oxygen and pay for it. Regina Jackson invites Ethan and Jude to her office after they work in the Chronicorp Toe of Particle Research Tunnel one day. There, she makes an introduction to the two of them and informs them that humanity will die in a few years if conditions do not improve. After that, she reveals that Ethan is the only one who has the ability to assist everyone and save humanity. Ethan is perplexed and doubts her, but Regina asks him to go to their lab. The lab has a lot of equipment. Billy Mitchell, a lab doctor, introduces himself to Ethan and briefly examines Ethan's wrist device. They then tell him that Dr. Richard White, Ethan's father, started this project 20 years ago. The Chronicle is the name of the time machine that stands in front of them. They had to inject radio waves into the machine for the very first experiment to determine what was on the other side. Through it, they discovered that in 2474, 407 years from now, the Earth would have sufficient vegetation to support human life and maintain sufficient air oxygen levels. The populace comes to the conclusion that if humanity continues to exist several hundred years later, it is highly likely that they will have discovered solutions to all of the issues that are afflicting their world. However, the scientists there were baffled by an odd phenomenon. The waves they sent back were reformed. They discovered that someone from the future had sent them the message instructing them to send Ethan White when they decoded it. Therefore, Regina and the entire team want to send Ethan into the future so that he can bring the cure back. Ethan is shocked beyond belief. He doesn't trust them and thinks Regina is lying. In addition, he declines assistance because he does not want to leave his ill wife and go into the future. Ethan and Jude later visit a diner to purchase crisp oxygen. Jude tries to convince Ethan to carry out the plan and contribute to humanity's survival. But Ethan makes fun of him and says that he doesn't want to be like his dad. Ethan despises his father for never supporting him. While he was a child, his mother was killed and his father left the house and went missing. Jude, who Ethan considers to be both his best friend and older brother, has raised him ever since. He feels bad that he left his mother to finish the project, and he doesn't want to leave his sick wife like he did. Jude, however, is able to persuade him by stating that finding a cure is the only way he can save his wife. When Ethan was 8 years old, his father gave him a strange box as a present. A device latches onto his wrist and causes him to bleed as he inserts his hands into the box. On his son, Richard had fixed a hand device. Ethan is unaware of its use despite the fact that it has been many years. Ethan tells Zan everything that happened that day later at home, and she also tells him to go. Ethan writes, "I will find my way back to you on a metal flower," and leaves it beside Zan the following morning. He then returns to Regina's office and informs her that they will have to give Zan the only cure if he can find one. He's picked up by Regina and taken back to the lab. He is shown the suit that he must put on before using the machine by Dr. Mitchell. Ethan comes to the realization that they do not have a strategy as they begin to explain the mission to him. They don't know what he'll see or who he'll meet at the other end. But after they put him in the suit, they give him the Archie, an artificial intelligence device. Archie will always show the lab Ethan's vitals. Additionally, it will assist in locating him. Finally, they put him in the machine. Ethan moves quickly through time inside. He crashes into an unknown jungle after falling from the sky. He quickly exits his suit because the friction from the air causes it to catch fire. After that, he takes a look around and is awestruck by the natural beauty. He discovers that the world has changed completely. The natural oxygen's trees are back. He follows Archie's instructions and stumbles upon a bunker door. But the skeleton right in front of the door is what catches his attention. There is a bullet hole in its skull. Furthermore, he is horrified to see his own name on the name tag attached to it. Ethan's skeleton is the one. Ethan also plays the final recording and discovers Archie, the skeleton's pet. On it, he shoots Ethan after he hears a man say that this is the only way. He is horrified when the device's power goes out and believes that this is his fate. Then he notices that the skeleton's wrist device is identical to Ethan's, with the exception that the skeleton's light glows green. However, Ethan's has always been red. He roasts wild berries and lights a fire that night. It was discovered that the berries were toxic. Ethan begins to vomit and appear to be unconscious. After a while, Ethan awakens and is surprised to see Jude in front of him. It turns out that the lab thought Ethan was having a reaction when they saw his vitals drop. To deceive, in order to save him, they promptly sent Jude with the treatment to the future. Ethan and Jude later discover that his skeleton has not moved, indicating that his fate has not changed. After that, they use Archie to find a new one. Door. Ethan's eye is scanned by some device, which grants them access. He is greeted by a monitor as they enter. He is asked to provide a DNA sample. His wrist device begins to function when he accepts it, causing him to bleed. Following the blood test, it changes color. They discover that they are in Chronocorp's Lab 407 when the room's lights come on. The time machine is also in front of them, years later. Jude gets excited because they now have the ability to travel back in time. However, Ethan disagrees, claiming that they have not altered anything and that he will die just like Ethan. Ethan examines the system log and discovers a holographic recording made by his father. In it, he explains that the time machine was initially intended to transmit oxygen data from the future planet to the present. However, he was prompted to send his son into the future by a message when his father first started the time machine. He made the decision to do so despite his reservations, and he performed a DNA test on Ethan here. Ethan and Jude quickly come to the conclusion that the time machine won't be able to bring them back because its battery is almost dead after 407 years. Worse still, activating the lab causes a problem in its nuclear power core, which could result in a nuclear explosion in just 4 hours. As a result, they must devise a means of repairing the time machine and traveling back to before the explosion. They must act quickly as they are running out of time. They are surprised to see a decaying city covered in green plants outside. However, occupied. Without humans, Earth begins to recover from the extinction of humans. Skeletons of humans can be found all over. When Ethan gets to his wife's house, he finds her bones, which makes him feel hopeless. Judd is persuaded by Jude's words make Ethan suspicious, so he turns on the rusty Archie to play the recording once more. He recognizes Jude's voice, and it appears that Jude is the exact person who shot him. To go back to the past because the cure for the disease does not appear to exist even in the future. Jude insistently denies that he will shoot Ethan as he points his gun at him. In the end, Ethan decides to finish the mission first. As a result, they were able to repair the power core together and return to the laboratory. Now that the Chronicle system works, they ought to be able to go back in time. They only have to wait 37 minutes for the portal to open. The portal will remain tethered to 2067 for approximately 30 seconds when the countdown reaches 0. However, Ethan still discovers his body hidden behind a door in the same spot, indicating that they have not altered the future. Ethan replaces the worn-out battery on his current RCGIE in an effort to discover the truth. He gains access to another video in this manner, in which Ethan is assured that Jude will kill his future self. Jude then admits that he is attempting to safeguard Ethan and that there is no way to alter the future. Ethan locks his brother up in a room because he can't believe it, and then he plays back the holographic log from the day his father died. He quickly learns that the Chronocorp Kto Regina Jackson and his father had a conversation. It is shown that the father of Ethan wanted to use the time machine to find a cure and save humanity as a whole. However, the Kto only intended to use the device to escape the end times with a select few. However, in order to safely transport living matter through time using the time machine, which requires an operational link from both sides, someone must travel into the future and turn it on. To put an end to the Kto, his father uses Ethan's DNA as the verification key and her plan to lock the time machine. The Toe killed Ethan immediately out of resentment for what his father had done earlier. After that, she gives Jude the order to kill Ethan's mother and act as his guardian so that one day they can use Ethan's wristband to enter the future. Ethan is shocked beyond belief. It turned out that the man he thought was his brother was the one who had killed his mother and was about to kill him as well. Additionally, he realizes that he has misunderstood his father, who did not leave the family on purpose. Ethan tries to shut down the time machine because he knows that Reginald wants to bring a select group of people into the future. However, Jude rushes to stop Ethan and reveals that he has been assigned by the Toe to make sure that Ethan is sent in time to fix the power failure. He should kill Ethan once he turns on the time machine. Jude, on the other hand, has grown emotionally attached to Ethan over time. He feels guilty because he sees his brother as a friend in that state. As a result, he kills himself by shooting Ethan instead. Ethan is determined to fulfill his father's dying wish of finding a cure and saving the dying people out of rage and regret. He discovers the very first message that his father had written when he looked into the monitor. He concludes that Ethan White himself sent the message. As a result, he re-encodes the message and sends it along with numerous other items into the past. In the meantime, the Toe and a select group of privileged individuals are anxiously waiting in the 2067 laboratory for the time machine to be turned on. However, the time machine sends back hundreds of extinct plants and a copy of the recorded murder of Ethan's father, shocking them. The Toe's plan is thwarted when Ethan destroys the time machine shortly thereafter. The Toe is ultimately apprehended. Plants are brought back to 2067 in order to revive the planet in response to the murder. Ethan's wife, who also received a flower from him, comprehends his decision. Ethan forgave Jude and buried him while he was alone in the future world.